Okay, Jimmy gives me the thumbs up. We are good to go. We are broadcasting live. Welcome, everybody. It's good to see some folks out in the stands out here. I appreciate folks coming and participating. Um, Need to clear up a couple of things before we get started. There's someone that is spreading some lies, and it's becoming close to slanderous in the Falls City area about where I stand on helping Falls City and Judge Krzequa and the constable get an office built there, as well as the immigration issue. I need that to stop before it goes any further. It is borderline slander. I support 100% Falls City, as well as all the other precincts and getting things built there, but in a responsible way with taxpayers' money. Okay, that being said, we do have a quorum present. Let's stand for a prayer and pledge, please.
Heavenly Father, we thank you today and every day because nothing is ever given. We ask that you be with our court today as we go about and do your business. We ask that you be with all our responders. We ask that you be with our country as we struggle to do what needs to be done in your name. We ask that you protect everybody here today, coming and going, and we ask that you give us and help us remember the coming church season. Amen.
Amen. 27. Pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic which stands one nation indivisible with liberty and justice. Okay. Item number 5 this morning, citizens to be heard. Ms. Sweezy, do we have citizens signed up to speak? Several, okay. Who's first on the list? All right, Mr. Beatrice.
Good morning, Court. I had a couple things I just wanted to talk about this morning. The first was on the agenda, the discussion of purchasing a van. If we decide to purchase a van, I would just like to encourage the court to shop local. We have 2 dealerships in Karnes County that support dozens of residents, so I think it's important to spend that money locally if possible. Also, I noticed that we're going to recognize several individuals and groups for donating heaters. I really appreciate how everyone supports our community, but there was one group that was left off the list, and I wanted to bring special attention to them. At the end of last year, in December of 2023, the Karnes City Lions Club set up a heater drive, and the Lions Club, we handed out those heaters at the December food bank. The Karnes County 4-H Council Group helped us hand out all these heaters. The Lions Club of Karnes City donated 50 heaters. The Karnes City Rotary Club donated 50 heaters. The Lonesome Dove 4-H donated 12 heaters. The Panna Maria 4-H donated 11 heaters. The Karnes City Chamber of Commerce donated 4 heaters. Alamo Lumber donated 20 heaters. And 55 heaters were donated by anonymous donors. So thank you, everyone. Thank you all for supporting our community. We donated a total of 200 heaters back in December. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, who's up next, Ms. Sweezy? All right. Mr. O'Brien.
Good morning, Commissioners. Judge, I'm here today to speak in favor of the discussion about purchasing a van for our military veterans liaison to help transport some veterans back and forth to their necessary appointments. I know I've only got just a minute, but what is the definition of a veteran? It's somebody who took the earth to serve and protect their country and their Constitution and our flag. There's all kinds of different kinds of veterans. I'm a veteran. I served in reserves. There's very little time in active duty. Then there's other guys like Don C., our liaison, who served in a war zone. There's all the guys on our honor guard, the Karnes County Honor Guard. They're all Vietnam veterans, Vietnam era veterans. But the one thing we all have in common, well, Commissioner Lissy right here, he's a veteran. We all have in common that oath that we took. And there's no expiration date on that oath. That's why most of these guys are still serving today. And I think they deserve this van, and I hope you think seriously about getting it for them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean.
Okay, who's next? I'm running out of space. Becky. All right. Morning.
Good morning, and thank you for the time today. Our law enforcement has a responsibility to get help for individuals in crisis, but our sheriff's department refuses to do this. On October 22nd, my son Jeffrey exhibited suicidal behavior. I called 911 and waited almost an hour and a half for help to arrive. The deputy said he would transport my son to the hospital, except they were too short-handed that night. On November 1st, workers felt threatened by Jeffrey's behavior. 3 deputies came, but they refused to call for a mental health assessment. They told us it wasn't illegal to be crazy. It wasn't unusual for individuals to lie across roadways, as my son had done on the 22nd. They told us to call MHMR instead of them if we needed help with a mental health crisis, even though MHMR won't go out for assessments unless law enforcement are there to ensure their safety. On November 18th, Jeffrey yelled in a store that someone was going to die that day. I called 911 after I found him walking on FM 791. He was known to step in front of traffic. It was getting dark and he refused to come home with me. He was in crisis, and I was afraid he would be run over. The deputy, knowing what he'd done earlier, spoke with him for about a minute, then left him to keep walking, claiming there wasn't enough cause to call MHMR for an assessment. Another deputy advised me to record him with my cell phone as I drove behind him on 791. He suggested that I turn off all my lights so my son wouldn't see me as I tried to record him. On this dangerous road, I was worried he was going to be run over on. On December 31st, Deputy Garces called me and said that Jeffrey had been recorded on dash cam, stepping in front of an oncoming vehicle. But MHMR had told her that that wasn't enough for an assessment. MHMR has no record of such a call on that day. January 5th, Jeffrey walked on County Road 211, suffering from hallucinations and delusions. He jumped in front of a truck, was nearly hit, and almost caused it to hit another truck. 911 was called, but the deputy didn't call for an assessment. He gave my son a ride into Fall City. I contacted the judge, who promised to get my son help. The sheriff told the judge he would initiate an ED as soon as they hung up, but instead, Jeffrey was dropped off at the HEB in Floresville. Based on Jeffrey's behavior, MCOT conducted an ED on the 8th after a peaceful weekend. It's not that hard to get an emergency detention done if you try. Our sheriff's actions endangered people he is sworn to protect. I contacted him to make a complaint against his department, but he wouldn't acknowledge me until after the district attorney started investigating. He still hasn't followed up with any questions or results of his looking into the matter. Criminal action won't be taken against him because there was no formal order from the judge.
Ms. Hans, that's your 3 minutes. We appreciate you coming in and speaking.
I just hope you can bring accountability to the sheriff's department and correct the deficiencies
Thank you, Ms.
to
Hans.
prevent future failures.
Okay, item number, I'm sorry, do we have any others signed up? One more? It shocked me.
Morning, how y'all doing? Long time no see. Probably be a while again before I get up here. I'm back on the road and enjoying it for now. But that ain't gonna be forever. Y'all gonna be seeing me a little more often here in the future at some point. To me, that's important to be able to come up here and talk to y'all. Where I'm at with what I've had on my mind lately is that I'd like to see we be able to find out the basics of what it takes to put something on the agenda. And I would like it said on the record so that way the guidelines are met and everything's done. Because the last time I tried to do that, I was told I was gonna be able to do it. And then this was, Sharon called me and said she couldn't do it. This is before your time. So, I know y'all are available and yeah, y'all can, I can come to any one of y'all, but I know Shelby's the commissioner in the precinct I live in, but I want it on the record. That way, everybody, the concerned citizens, know what it takes to get something up here. And I'd like to see it on paper, not just by word of mouth. The next thing I'd like to do is, how do you say? I'd like to see y'all come up with more stuff of your own. Not just, spending time up here. And we get 3 minutes. I'm at 1.5 minutes, a little over that. 3 minutes is not that much. Prior to this Commissioner's Court, we used to be able to have dialogue with y'all. We don't have dialogue. Y'all think about that. I understand that, we have freedom of speech, but what about being able to have a dialogue? I understand y'all are concerned about people having issues and things getting out of hand. It got out of hand with this court, with Sharon and the road and bridge guy. 15 minutes at least. They went back and forth, and that's what y'all are concerned about. I would like to see it on paper also, how it is that y'all can limit us to not being able to have dialogue with y'all. Because right now, as it's set up, we can't have dialogue with y'all. They kicked me out of Mr. Kendall's court because I wasn't talking about stuff that was on the agenda. Y'all can't answer anything on the agenda. But we could before. We could talk about it before. Y'all took it away. I want to know why. And I'm going to put that on the agenda. I want to know why we can't have it. We need it. We need to be able to have dialogue. We've got elections coming up. It's going to be quite interesting. Real interesting. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Any others signed up to speak? All right, we're going to get to item number 6, and that is to acknowledge the Karnes County Spring Employee Appreciation Gathering will be held on Thursday, April 11th, 2024 at the Karnes City Columbus Club Hall. Location is 517 East Calvert Avenue, Karnes City, Texas 78118. The fee is $350 and includes cleaning. And that time is 11:30 to 1:30. Bonnie?
Good morning, Judge Hedke and Commissioners. I'll just echo exactly what Judge Hedke just said. This is just to acknowledge that our next employee appreciation gathering, where we will extend our thanks and our gratitude for all county employees for their hard work and their dedication to Karnes County, will be on that Thursday, April 11th, 2024. Same place as before, Karnes County City Columbus Club Hall. And last time, there were several employees in here that helped clean up afterwards, so they did discount the cleaning fee. But should we not be available to do that, then that fee will still stand. And Judge, I'll have the contract here for you to sign afterwards.
Yes, ma'am.
And I will let all staff know. I already have a save the date email scheduled for them. Once y'all approve, give y'all's blessing and all the good stuff. Happy early pre-Valentine's Day. Let's spread some love and kindness.
Thank you. Thank you. Item number 7, acknowledge Commissioner Precinct 2, Benny Lissy and Christina Lissy and daughters for the donation of 5 portable heaters and blankets to Karnes County Heater Drive. Commissioner Dupnick.
I put all these on there to acknowledge that all the stuff here we're going to acknowledge was given to the county to pass out. I have no knowledge of anybody else providing any type of heaters or anything. But Commissioner Lissy and his wife, they did present 5 heaters to the county and some blankets, and we thank them for that. Thank you, Judge.
Item number 8, acknowledge Karnes City Methodist Church in Karnes City and Megan Martinez, the Wesley nurse, for providing and staffing the warming center located at 201 Esplanade in Karnes City, Texas. Church members and the Wesley nurse provided warm meals and shelter. Commissioner Dupnick.
Judge, court, this was a big deal for, at least I consider it to be a major event in our county. But the Methodist Church in Karnes City and the Western nurse, Megan Martinez, they organized a warming shelter. The county provided some cots that we had, and they took care of the shelter, I think, for two days, I believe. And they provided meals to the people and that attended. I think there were like 15 or 20 that actually took advantage of this. And again, I want to thank them for that, because to me, that is a big gift of love. Thank you.
Okay, item number 9 this morning is acknowledge James and Lupe Rosales for their donation of 20 portable heaters and blankets to the Karnes City Heater Drive. Commissioner Dupnick.
Again, I want to thank Commissioner James Rosales and his wife Lupe and their families for donating some 20 heaters and blankets. They made sure that they brought them up to the office, and we passed them out as people came by and requested them, and we gave some to the Methodist Church to pass out as well. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, item number 10, excuse me, acknowledge Trent Enriquez and the Keep It Real Community Church for assisting in the warming center during our last cold weather freeze. Pastor Enriquez and members patrolled streets so no one would be left out in the cold. Commissioner Dupnick.
Again, Trent Enriquez, who's our JP3, correct? And also is is a pastor at the Keep It Real Community Church. They assisted in the warming center, helping its staff during our last cold freeze. Pastor Enriquez and his members patrolled the streets of Corn City and Kennedy and looked around for those that didn't have any place to go, and they either picked them up or they brought them in out of the cold. And again, that was another great big gift of love that I consider. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, item number 11, acknowledge First Lutheran Church of Runge Ladies Quilting Club for the generous donation of quilts that they made donated to the Karnes County Heater/Blanket Drive. Commissioner Dupnick.
The ladies of the First Lutheran Church in Runge, they have a quilting club, and Mrs. Geisler, she was kind of the head quilter, I guess. And I talked to her, and she says, "Oh, let me look if you had any blankets." And she said, "I think I may have some." And they bought a ton of blankets for us, and we passed them out at the warming center as well as the people that requested blankets. And it was a big, huge event for me. These ladies, all these blankets are handmade, and so it's a lot of work. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, item number 12, discuss, approve, disapprove, accepting a check in the amount of $24,335.69 from United Healthcare. This check may be utilized for a wellness incentive program or as Karnes County deems appropriate. Bye.
Good morning, everyone. As part of United Healthcare, us going with them this past fiscal year, they sent a one-time only check for $24,335.69 that can be used for a wellness incentive program, or we can put it toward a pot to pay the premiums for the employees. We can do a wellness day where we have the county employees come and do a wellness day, hand out T-shirts, however the county sees fit for it.
Just whatever we do with it, we just want to make sure it's equitable and fair to all the employees.
Correct,
that will
correct.
be able to benefit from it.
Right. So we just need to certify the funds and establish a budget for it. Yeah, Tom's going to help me on this one, make sure we do it right.
You have to create a budget for it.
Establish a budget for it, yes.
I think we can just acknowledge accepting the funds, and then the court can get together over the next couple of weeks and decide what we want to do with it that will benefit all employees.
Yes,
Okay, so we'll
that'll
get that
work.
on the agenda in 2 weeks, but we'll acknowledge the funds. We need a motion to acknowledge that.
So we approve accepting a check in the amount of $24,335.69 from United Healthcare. The
That's
check-
good.
Do we need to put certified in there?
We'll just acknowledge the acceptance of it, and we'll establish a
That way we
budget in
just-
2 weeks.
The word certified. Okay, we need to. It needs to have the word certified.
that correct, Phil? So they need to certify the finance. We're acknowledging a check in the amount of $24,335.69 from United Healthcare. Can we certify those in 2 weeks and establish a budget for those in 2 weeks? Talk to you, Phil.
Yes.
We can. So as long as we acknowledged it, then we'll put it back on the agenda in 2 weeks and we'll certify them and establish a budget for them.
Some ideas around possible ways to use it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
There a second on the acknowledgement? Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 13, discuss, approve, disapprove a resolution awarding a building contractor for the home program through the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. The resolution here, we did open bids last Commissioners Court meeting. The contractor was awarded those, came in at budget or under budget to build the homes. This is a wonderful program. And it's really kicked off going fast this year, and Shell does a great job. It's a tireless effort of collecting all this information and copying, scanning, getting it to Langford and Langford with the GLO, so it's a wonderful deal. The resolution is here. I'll read it. A resolution of the Commissioners Court of Karnes County, Texas, authorizing the approval of the building contractor award for the home program through the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. Whereas the Karnes County advertised for bids in accordance with all state and federal procurement laws, and whereas the bid opening for the home program was held January 23rd at 9:15 a.m. 2024, whereas 5 homes were included in the bid, whereas 2 bids were received by the county. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the, not the city council, the Commissioners Court of Karnes County, Texas. The Karnes County Commissioners Court awards the construction of 5 homes listed in the bid package to the lowest responsive total bid base of $750,000 to RM Quality Construction LLC, doing business as Randy Maloof Builder. Passed and approved this, today's the 13th day of February 2024. I need a motion to approve that before I sign it.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 13 as presented.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? No. We'll get this non-city council, and that needs to be Commissioners Court, and we'll sign that. Item number 14. Discuss, approve, disapprove, seeking bids for procurement of a grant administrator to assist in the application, planning, and administration for the GLO CDBG-MIT Local Hazard Mitigation Plan Program, LMHPP. We need to go out for grant administrators. Shelby, I believe this is the one you were asking about a couple weeks ago.
I move that we approve the procurement of a grant administrator to assist in application, planning, and administration for the GLO CBD MIT Local Hazard Mitigation Plan Program.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second is on the table. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? No. Carried. Item number 15, discuss, approve, disapprove adopting the resolution to apply for the 2017 GLO CDBG-MIT Local Hazard Mitigation Plan Program, LMHPP.
I move adopting the resolution to apply for the 2017 GLO CDBG MIT Local Hazard Mitigation Plan Program.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. I'll read the resolution now. The resolution of the Commissioners Court of Karnes County, Texas, authorizing the submission of a community development block grant mitigation, CDBG-MIT, Project Local Hazard Mitigation Plans Program application to the Texas General Land Office, and authorizing the county judge to act as the county's executive officer and authorized representative in all matters pertaining to the county's participation in the Community Development Block Grant Mitigation Local Hazard Mitigation Plans Program. Whereas Karnes County desires to reduce or eliminate the long-term risk of loss of life, injury, damage to, and the loss of property and suffering and hardships by lessening the impact of future disasters. And whereas the county desires to update the Karnes County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan and adopt once TDEM and FEMA have declared the hazard mitigation plan approvable pending adoption. And whereas it is necessary and in the best interest of Karnes County to apply for funding under the Community Development Block Grant Mitigation through the Local Hazard Mitigation Plans Program. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Commissioners Court of Karnes County, Texas, one, that a Community Development Block Grant / Mitigation Program application is hereby authorized to be submitted on behalf of Karnes County with the Texas General Land Office for funding consideration under the Community Development Block Grant / Mitigation Program Local Hazard Mitigation Plans Program. Two, that Karnes County application will be submitted through the CDBG-MIT Local Hazard Mitigation Plans Program for funding. Three, that the grant amount be up to the maximum allowed by the CDBG-MIT program. Four, that Karnes County directs and designates the county judge as the authorized representative and signature authority to act in all matters in connection with this application and participation in this Community Development Block Grant / Mitigation Program through the Local Hazard Mitigation Plans Program. Five, that all funds will be used in accordance with all applicable federal, state, local, administrative, and programmatic requirements, including but not limited procurement, labor standards, and civil rights requirements. Passed and approved by the Commissioners Court on this 13th day of February, 2024. Here, I'll get you to sign that one. Okay, item number 16, discuss, approve, disapprove, declaring various vehicles, heavy equipment, buildings, and salvaged road materials currently assigned to the Karnes County Road and Bridge Department as surplus, and to authorize appropriate county officials to coordinate disposal of designated items. Wayne Giesler.
Good morning, Court. We finally got all of our surplus materials together, and you should have a packet in there. It should, I believe the packet that you guys have got will have 33 items on there. I'd like to add a fourth item that's a 2004 Nissan Titan Crew cab pickup truck. It's our unit 326. All of those items, we've established minimum bids for them. Of note is two items. There's a salvage and removal of a pole barn and materials, the materials that make them up. And it's something new we're trying this year. On those items, we have talked with the county attorney. We're going to add a clause in there so they'll be properly insured if they do win the bid. And just another way of trying to see if we can dispose of this property and save taxpayers some money for whenever the buildings have to be torn down. So that's it. So what I'm specifically asking for is to declare all the items on this list, plus that 2004 Nissan pickup truck as surplus, and then we will, as soon as that's done, assuming that it's approved, we'll begin our sealed bid process and go from there. Any questions?
Declaring surplus and to authorize appropriate county officials to coordinate disposal of designated items.
Sure. The disposal, what happens with a lot of these things is.
Who are the appropriate county officials to coordinate disposal?
Well, first of all, my office ends up running I mean, it's a process we've done in the past. My office ends up running the seal, basically showing the materials and showing the seal bids. Ultimately, what ends up happening is the seal bids will come into the auditor's office. They take them, we all sit down and tabulate them. I've developed a spreadsheet, go figure, to go ahead and tabulate everything. So we decide who wins the bid and we have a record of everything. And then we come back to Commissioners Court once we have those bids and we ask you guys to award them. And I'll give you another spreadsheet very similar to this, but it'll have the individuals. By that time, the auditor, myself, will peruse the list and perused all the bids. We'll put them in there and we'll start dispersing.
I'll make the motion to approve item number 16 as presented. Judge, can we add on the 2004 Nissan pickup truck?
Yes, we can add that on there.
Very
Add
good.
that one on too.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed?
Thank you, Court.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Item number 17, discuss, approve, disapprove, purchase van for veteran officer at a cost not to exceed $35,000. Van, if purchased, would be funded from line item 100-409-4997, contingency. Commissioner Geisler and Lissy.
Well, our veterans officer has been transporting veterans.
Folks need you to talk in the mic.
Private vehicle. And as a liability to the county, I asked him to quit doing it. And to provide a service to transport our veterans to hospitals, doctor's appointments. He represented one in a federal case, is that right? And just to provide transportation for our veterans. If it wasn't for our veterans, where would we be? And I think we owe it to them to provide this service.
Is the county, how does that work insurance-wise? I'm 100% in favor of getting Don the tools that he needs to take care of our veterans. My dad was a vet, obviously. My grandfather was a vet. Does that open the county up to liability from if a veteran steps out and breaks their leg, or if we're involved in an accident? How many veterans are we transporting per week? Yeah, come on up. For those that don't know it, Don C. is our VSO, does an incredible job.
Good morning. Thank you, Judge, and thank you, County Commissioners. So we have, numerous veterans in Karnes County that we service, and it's kind of hard to predict on any regular pattern of how many we transport on a regular basis. But generally, it's not just local here to the local doctor. It's to San Antonio for specialty care. We have a lot of veterans who are elderly and disabled, and they do not want to drive into San Antonio. They can get a lot of their care here locally for a lot of things, but other things they have to go to San Antonio for, as well as I'm not sure if how many people in the community are aware that we have been dealing for the last several months with a homeless veteran. And so I've had to take him to San Antonio numerous times. Just a fact of life in rural communities, there's not a lot of resources for veterans out here, just because it is such a rarity that we have a homeless veteran. So all the resources for them are in San Antonio and Bexar County. So I've had to transport him frequently to San Antonio for appointments, attempting to get him into veteran health care, attempting to get him into veteran housing, veteran homeless shelter in San Antonio. So there's a lot of steps to doing that. It's quite a process. So I had to transport him frequently to San Antonio as well. And then as Commissioner Lessy spoke, we have when we go through the process of assisting veterans at getting their claims approved, oftentimes, as you would expect from the federal government, it's a very complicated process, and we have to frequently deal with denials. And when the denials go through a certain number of steps, then it comes to what's called the Board of Veteran Appeals, and that's a federal court, and it's done by Zoom out of a new VA office in San Antonio off of 151. So we recently had our first one of those and had to transport a veteran up there and represent him before this federal judge. It's not like a regular court where you can hire an attorney, but most veterans don't. So I drive the person up there and prepare their case and present their case before this federal judge on the appeals case. We had one already, and I have another one already scheduled for May for another veteran. So it's just, like I said, it's really hard to predict, how many people you're going to need. I've been transporting veterans for quite a while already, but it just kind of seems like it's been a lot more frequent lately. So that's when it became an issue that's kind of a liability issue for them to be transporting them in my POV. So.
Now, isn't there like something similar to Agent Orange that happened in the Gulf Wars in Iran and Iraq?
Yes, so that's kind of accounted for a lot of the great increase in the number of veterans that we're processing and that we're seeing, and also veterans that we're having to transport to appointments. Recently, Congress enacted and the president signed what's called the PACT Act. And the PACT Act is what I tell people is kind of the modern day equivalent to the Agent Orange for the Vietnam veterans. So it's about toxic exposures from the Gulf War on. That encompasses a tremendous number of soldiers that have been involved in deployments around the world where they've been exposed to toxic exposures, as well as some of them just based on their job in the military, exposes them to toxic exposures. First 3 months that this went into effect, last October, over 1 million claims were filed on just the PACT Act type claims. So it's a tremendous workload increase, which is basically what resulted in this position going from part-time to full-time. Because in the past, it had been pretty slow. We'd kind of really gotten all our Vietnam veterans and stuff taken care of. And a lot of the guys that came out of the military that were newer were already involved in the system. So it was a lot of it was taken care of. But now, since the PACT Act has been passed, it's brought a lot of new veterans into the VA system.
What is the amount of money that's brought into the county with the veterans?
So every year, the VA sends me a report, and I always present those numbers to the judge every year for our annual, when we're doing budget review. And every year, it's consistently about, just in what we call compensation and pension, and those are checks that come directly from the VA to the veteran to compensate them for harm that was caused to them during their service. It's in the $3 to $4 million range for just the compensation and pension. But there are also other monies that come to Karnes County by the VA for things like the health care. Because veterans can request from their VA doctor to be treated in their local community, like Atascosa Health, the Karnes County clinic, they're part of that program as well. I know Otto Kaiser has some of the departments there that also treat veterans. But what happens is the veteran gets treated here by a local doctor, and the VA pays that bill. So that money's also coming in to Karnes County to pay medical bills, as well as educational funds as well.
Commissioners, Judge, Don, my question is about the van. Is it going to be equipped to hold a wheelchair in case you have to take somebody out there that's just in a wheelchair 24/7? Will it have a lift? Is it going to have a strap for the wheelchair?
I mean, we had banded that around, but I think that the occasion that we would have to use that, I think would be so rare. I don't think it justifies the additional expense that it would take to get a wheelchair adapted van. I'm a pretty big strapping guy. I can get most veterans from their chair into a vehicle if that's what needs to happen. I've had other veterans that I've transported already that basically stayed in a wheelchair, but, with my assistance and themselves, we were able to get them into my POV, which is way too high for most veterans that are having, mobility issues.
Okay. Judge, I had another question, and of course, I'm 100% in favor of purchasing the van, of course. But Judge, I had a question on this. I looked through the job description, and on your job description, it doesn't have on the job description transporting anybody. If we do this, I would like to see that maybe in the job description, if y'all would agree with that, just so we could keep the county from any liabilities that we're buying a van, but it's not in your job description, but if we can add it to the job descriptions, possibly it's up to y'all court, and that way you have it in your job description and we're purchasing the van for something that you're.
Because it's listed in the job description, does that remove us from any liability if something happens? My concern is if we have, if, God forbid, Don has a wreck and he's carrying one of our vets and that person is injured or passes, does that open up the county to a lawsuit?
Yes.
Transporting or somebody in road and bridge driving and has an accident, we get sued.
So you're saying that that's just kind of comes with the territory regardless of what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I understand that, and I'm sorry. The reason I was kind of stating that was, I go ahead and get further into explanation. I do want to make sure that, if another department somewhere starts taking somebody to Kennedy or something like that, doesn't ask for a vehicle. So if we have it in your job description, it's because it's a necessity for our veterans. And another department might say, well, I'm going to start taking somebody, he got a van. I've been in this long enough to know how it goes.
I understand. Sir? I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't know if you're asking me, but I'm fine with that as well.
It's up to the court, whatever they think.
I move we approve the purchase of a van not to exceed $35,000 for the veteran, to transport veterans back and forth as needed.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? I think that we need more information on it, and I don't like doing this out of cycle. I don't think it's right to do this out of budget cycle, but motion carries 4-1. Item number 17, item number 18, discuss, approve, disapprove, approve additional change orders in the amount of $4,000 for unforeseen costs at 119 North Brown Street renovations. 2,900 of that is flooring, magnetic door locks, emergency lights, granite counter, and $500 for the moving fee and $600 additional other extra expenses. What are the 600 additional other extra expenses, Mr. Montalvo?
We're needing some monies because we exceeded the fund that we have for contingency funds at the rebuild and remodel for the auditor's building. Everything came up to a total of 25,900. So we went over $2,900. And with these other $4,000, that'll cover all these other expenses that we went over and any additional items that we did not see.
You're just padding it a little.
A little padding in there, yes, just in
Okay.
case.
What, Judge, can I ask a question?
Sure.
What other change orders were done and how much were they?
The very first one was the electrical panel because it was 150 amp. We needed a 200 amp, and that was 3,000 right off the get-go. And then the other ones were being the pamphlet that you guys have in front of you. It is $1,200 for the CAT in their conference room to run all for their phones and their internet stuff that when they have conferences or any of the stuff that goes on in that room. And then you have the 13.5 for the flooring.
We did that last week, right?
Yes, and then you got the mag locks for the doors, like the judge said, and the granite top, and that put us over.
No other change work orders were done during construction?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
On the, for the new meter loop and riser upgrade to the 200 amp, does that fall on us or does that fall on the engineer that designed that?
Well, probably both the architect and the engineer who evaluated it. And they did not have that in there. So, yes, sir.
I'm not sure that that should be, our little hickey.
And not to point fingers, but the locks for the mag locks for the main entry, that wasn't in the architecture, you know, it should have been in there for the electrician to have power there to power those magnet locks. As I was walking through, I noticed that there's no power there. I says, where's the power for these locks?
Do you and Commissioner Rosales, would you and Renee talk to the, not necessarily contractor, but the architect, engineer, and say, hey, either, you know, y'all probably need to eat that or eat some of it. That shouldn't be on the county to have to pay for their mistake.
Be more than happy to talk to him, Judge.
Okay?
I don't know what they're gonna say about it, but I will talk to him, Judge, and I'll get back with you.
I at least make an effort to
Yes, sir.
recoup that. Action item, we need a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve item number 18 as presented.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 19. Discuss, approve, disapprove, presentation and approval of fiscal year 23 annual independent audit by Armstrong, Vaughn and Associates, PC. Myself, Judge Hedke, and Tom Nick are the authors. Ready to go?
Ready.
All right.
Thanks, Judge, Commissioners. I killed some trees in front of you, but there's a one-page highlights that hopefully made its way in front of you that will give you just the brass tacks here. Everybody probably knows this, but anybody who might not, our job is to make sure that your annual report that's in front of you is accurate. So we've tested it, we've done our due diligence, and we agree this is a good report. So you've gotten a clean opinion. It's in that top section. While we're going through that, if we have any findings or anything that we think you're doing inappropriately, we'll bring that to your attention, and we had no significant or material findings. There's a letter that goes with it that has some of the conduct of the audit, where if we had any other minor recommendations or things for you to consider, we'd bring those to your attention. And there was one that we've had in the past that's not made us very popular, but I don't think it's been received the way I intended it to receive, so I just wanted to clarify that. It's listed here too. It's about your JPs and your district clerks and your county clerks softwares. And currently you're using a Hill Country, which is installed locally at each of the JPs, and then you have Odyssey here for the county. And if you had a hosted platform that was backed up, that would give you better disaster recovery. And if you would improve oversight, if you had other people had access to it to be able to see what's going on at those courts. So we recommend that you still can look into that. I believe LGS has a hosted platform, which is related to Hill Country. That would be probably an easy transition that would allow you to do that. So something to consider. Just an opportunity. It's not something that you need to do. We're always worried about what can go wrong, and so that's what keeps me awake at night. And so increased oversight and that disaster recovery is a good thing. So just below that, there's some financial highlights. You'll see your general fund trends. At the top there, the revenues are up for 2023 pretty considerably. Your expenditures were up as well, but you were still way under budget. And you added $9.2 million to your reserves. So that first line in green, you'll see the general fund for the county has over 50 million in it now in reserves, which is a little over 4 years of your operating costs. So that doesn't say anything about what capital needs you might have, but you have a healthy fund balance in the general fund. Road and Bridge is the same. That ended 2023 with a little over 25 million. And that was closer to break even for 2023 because there was a pretty significant increase in maintenance activity for the state CTIF grant that you're almost closing out. And then just below that has some other significant fund balances, just to give you an idea of where they've ended. Obviously, your largest one is down towards the bottom, the courthouse maintenance of the 4.3 million. The one other thing that's not mentioned on here is your American Rescue Plan money. You still have about 2 million on that. That's not counted until you find something that you're gonna spend it on. And that date's coming up pretty quick,
Yeah,
so.
we need to get that established, what we're gonna spend it on. Once we establish what we're spending it on, then we have a little more time to spend it, but we need to get that dedicated. Sorry, Phil, go ahead.
No problem. Those are just my highlights. I'd be happy to answer any questions or if I went too quickly over something. Or if you want to yell at me about Odyssey.
I think we're good on that. You know, I'm gonna stand behind my JPs, and what they wanna do with their office is what they're gonna do. Look into now that Hill Country was bought out, and this new company does have a platform. I think that they're interested in looking at that, but going forward, that's right. Good, yeah. And we'll talk about that, and all four of us all five of us will talk whenever budget, we'll sit down and do that. Any other questions for Phil? Judge, thank you. Item number 19 is an action item. We need a motion to approve or disapprove.
I'll make the motion to approve item number 19 as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? Phil, thank you so much. Item number 20, we have our consent agenda, and included in our consent agenda this month are reports from our EMS, Constable Precinct 3, Constable Precinct 4, Justice of the Peace 1, Justice of the Peace 2, 3, and 4, Maintenance Department, and our Sheriff Department. Anybody wants to pull any of those reports, we can do that on item number 21, consider and act upon.
Make the motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any items from the consent agenda that we'd like to consider and act on? No. Item number 22, updates from our commissioners, starting precinct 1.
All right, I'm gonna talk about the emergency management first. Everybody knows we've been having earthquakes in our county. Channel 12 had a deal on the other day, and they blamed it to fracking. You make your own determination what it is. I've heard everything from saltwater disposal to fracking. Also, it's a possibility, I've heard they pulled water out of one of these old uranium mine ponds, and that's causing it as well. So I hear so many different things, but in the last 2 days, we've had probably 6 earthquakes. Highest one is measured at 3.9. I'm gonna ask Jimmy to put it on the website, but there is a link that'll go to a state site or a federal site, and you can click on it, and if and it'll just ask you several questions about earthquake. If your windows rattled, did you have any type of cracks in your house, whatever the case may be, you can submit that in, and the judges, I talked to you yesterday about it, we'll go ahead and I'll forward that link to you today. Also, we had a Sunday, about 2:30, I think, it was a frac truck that flipped over on 99. We had 2 boxes that broke loose from the truck and silica sand, it was in the ditch. It was the owner's or the operator of the company's obligation to clean it up and dispose of the sand properly, as well as the state was gonna make a maintain ditch that was all tore up. Also, coming May, all you accountant people, There's gonna be a disaster accounting class in Floresville, and I expect all of y'all to show up for it because things are changing all the time. It's a 2-day class. It's from 8 to 5, and it'll be, starting in May. You can register at preparingtexas.org. On the 15th, we have a LEPC, meeting at ConocoPhillips. That's gonna be the 4 counties all together, Karnes, Wilson, McMullen, Atascosa. And hopefully we can get a good turnout for that. Things at 1 o'clock on the 15th.
Have you sent an invite out for that?
They did. You can get one?
No,
I'll check with Desiree.
I met with Glennis and Conoco a couple of days ago, so I didn't know if Commissioner Lissy would be going with you or to this one.
I don't know if he's gonna be there or not. I hadn't asked him.
Okay, if there is, we just need to make sure,
We posted a quorum.
and I think it's too late for that, but
I didn't go in the meeting with him. I drove over and helped him carry his stuff.
On the Commissioners Court, on the Commissioner sides, Judge and I guess, Judge, if you want me at that meeting, I don't know, but Pam Wagner will be here on the 21st to discuss broadband.
you and her and I, yeah.
And I think, Judge, can we invite Jimmy? This is one they did the original study that we did for the broadband for the county. You know, we've got Spectrum and these different companies that are in the county now, they're coming into the cities. I don't care about the cities that much because they have some type of coverage. I'm more worried about the ones in the rural country that have a hard time getting internet. So hopefully we can work something out. That they have different things are coming up now, so we'll be able to hopefully can give people some better answers. I had a road I had some county roads that I love people when they're not really, they like to throw it in 4-wheel drive and tear up the roads. We've had several roads that have been torn up like that, and I kind of wish people would stop it, but till we can get there to get them all seal coated, but they still continue to do that. And we've had to go back and put extra time back into those roads again. On the GLO grant, I want to explain to everybody that mitigation plan is a plan we have to have in place. It's good for 5 years. Our current one that expires in 2025, I think, or 26. Anyway, we need to, it'll take about a year to develop this plan. And this grant is I think, Judge, $100,000, but I think it's no cost to the county. GLO's funding the whole deal. And you have to have this plan in place for the reason is that if there is ever a disaster, flooding or anything else, you've got a plan in place and it helps you with FEMA to get funding from FEMA.
Correct. That's the main thing is so you can get them federal dollars.
The last one we did, we had San Antonio River Authority and all the cities, and then we were in Wilson County, and so this year I think Wilson's going to do it by themselves, so will we. Also, there's works again on having a resource fair like the one we had here last spring or summer it was. The Methodist Wesleyaners and the group are working on putting that together again, so hopefully we'll have it soon. And then I need to check with San Antonio River Authority, see if they're gonna actually have that spring cleanup again. It has this household cleanup, usually it's in like in March or late March or April. So we'll see how they got it scheduled based on their vendors. And that's all I got, Judge.
Thank you. Commissioner Precinct 2.
Well, let's see, and then end of January, excuse me, Renee Montalvo, our maintenance supervisor, and I noticed that there was some slate shingles that are falling off the courthouse. And we talked about it, and we need somebody to get up there to look at the roof, but I didn't think he ought to be getting up there, and neither should I, so we found out the city had a drone, Orange City has a drone, and on February the 2nd, Patrolman Scott Katar came and flew the drone and videoed the roof of the courthouse. And he sent Renee the copy of that drone. And I'd like if Renee would get up and tell what they saw.
Yes, sir. We had found out that the city does have a drone. So Sergeant Katera came out and did this for us. Him and the chief police came out and joined him and came out here and put the drone over around the whole courthouse and inspected the whole roof at that time, the copper, the slate. And we did seen one area of concern, which is on this west-north side of the courthouse where the stairs going to the basement is. That part is where an area has a lot of concern because there's pieces that are just missing from there and sliding off of there and working its way down to the ground. And there was some pieces on the ledges there that we had were some concerns, so I contacted the Christmas light people who did our Christmas lights, and I asked him if he, because he has the harnesses and the ropes and everything to do that kind of stuff. So he did us a favor by coming in and got those slates off that edge so we can, protect the citizens walking by or whoever's walking out there, that no one gets injured. So that was our first priority. And we did that, got that taken care of. And he was nice enough, Scott Katera, Sergeant, was able to take a bunch of photos. I got them on file, and we'll put those to use later when we want to do all this work on the courthouse. Hope to do that this year.
Is that insurance of,
This is update for commissioners, but if we need to do an agenda item for slate roof, let's do that. Let's do,
And with that said, I got two roofing contractors coming out to give us an estimate.
okay, that needs to be.
That's later down the road, yes.
Thank you, Renee.
Thanks, Renee.
Okay, then on January 24th, I attended a Landowners Border Security Conference in Brackettville, and it was hosted by Kenny County Judge John Schuster, and also present was a United States Representative Chip Roy, State Senator Pete Flores, Representative Ryan Gillian, and State Representative David Spiller. It was very informative. They had a lot of comments from the citizens that live along the border. And they've got some real horror stories to tell about what goes on and how it's affecting their lifestyle and costing the border counties. And they have a list of some of the significant security-related legislation that's been passed. One of them was about you catch somebody trespassing, illegal trespassing on your property. You call the Sheriff's Department, the DPS, and they'll come pick them up. They don't turn them back over to the Border Patrol because it's state law against trespassing. They take them and put them back across the border. And a lot of people were worried about retaliation from the cartels if they want to sign a complaint. So this bill has been passed that landowners don't have to do anything except call the Sheriff's Department, the DPS, and they'll take care of all of it. So there's no trail back to landowners. And then the other one was about the damage done to personal property, real property. If you have personal property, real property, water lines, fences, something of that nature, all you have to do is take a picture of it, call the law enforcement and get a case number, and then you'll send this into the Attorney General's office, and they're supposed to send you a check. They put a lot of money in that thing. And they'll pay up to $75,000 per incident. And I left some of these up here at the table. If anybody wants one, they're welcome to pick them up. And then on another note, on January 26th, we got a call from a constituent about the contractor that was paving private driveways, and he was using the county road 233 as a staging place. And they left a big trailer on the road overnight, 2 nights in a row. So I went out there and looked at it. I called Constable Hans. He met me out there, and they weren't very nice about it. It got pretty heated for a while. But we told them they had to move that trailer. If it didn't, they'd be impounded. And we checked on it until 9:30 that night until it got moved. And then finally got that taken care of. Got it right away. Yeah, and they can't use it right away or the pavement to store their equipment. And then a road and bridge engineer and I had a meeting on County Road 94 with the representatives from Devon Energy. And they showed some interest in some financial help on improving that road. And waiting to hear from them. And TxDOT is widening the right-of-way on, or the road on Highway 81 between Hobson and Santa Maria, so expecting delays or stopping traffic there. Still having a lot of calls about, we got a lot of roadsides down and a lot of trash on the road. And that's about it.
Okay, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Morning. Last few weeks, I checked on the county roads, a lot of the county roads. I met with the engineer on County Road 266 and constituents. We're working on that too. Basically, a lot of time has been spent also on people coming up to us as an elected official, coming up to us and coming up to me and asking me about the election going on, everybody's election going on, so I've been dealing with that a lot. Also, I got together with the engineer a few weeks ago, and we talked about the maintenance program that we do have for the county, so I'm working on a maintenance program, some ideas that I have, and I'm gonna be getting with the engineer on it, and they're doing a great job. That's all I got.
Thank you. Commissioner Precinct 4.
So during the last batch of rain I went out and was driving some roads, quite a few pictures, got with the Road and Bridges engineer and his crews, and they were able to block off a couple of roads that had some pretty significant water flowing through them. So appreciate everybody being safe out there. I've also visited with some of the constituents out in the Choate who I'll be meeting with this week concerning elections and trying to see what we can do for them. And that's really all I've got, Judge.
Thank you. Okay, item number 23, reports from our tax assessor, collector, auditor, and treasurer. Tammy, you're up first.
Good morning. How is everybody this morning?
Morning.
For the month of January, we were very, very busy. The current month to date on the county M&O was $13,544,847.59. The current year to date is $19,663,029.63 with 89.79% collected. Last year at this time, we had collected 90.08%. And today, when I left the office, the collection total was at 94.59%. When I had sent y'all the stuff January 31st, out of that top 50, 4 were unpaid. Today, 2 are unpaid. So we're getting there. And a lot of stuff came in, you know, because we do honor post dates. So they came in post dated January 31st, and we got it posted in February. On the county INS, the delinquent month to date was $56.51. The delinquent year to date was $279.47 with 1.85% collected. On the road and bridge, for the month to date, for the month of January, it was $2,185,421.99. The year to date was $3,172,169.98 with 89.80% collected. The delinquent month to date was $1,669.20. The delinquent year to date was $8,091.48 with 8.26% collected.
Very good. Thank you, Tammy. Tom?
All right, Court, we're continuing to still trend very well on revenues, as Tammy just shared. Looks like we're going to exceed our EMS receipts because we're just, it's really blowing and going right now. The only thing we're behind on right now is sales tax. We budgeted about $550 a month. We're hitting about $500,000. Hopefully in the summer that will pick up. The good news is our interest, we had 600, let's see here. And last month, 623,000 interest from bonds that came in, so we reinvested not for $590,000 of that. So overall, we're doing phenomenally well. I'm very pleased, and like I always share, all our department heads are good stewards of the budgets that you guys provide to them. On the last page of my report is the non-court bills. That amounted to $8,364,337.27, nothing out of the norm. The GO portion was $7,257,968.38. So basically, that's just a pass-through. We get to earn interest on that money while we hold it every 2 weeks. On my investment report, our total at the end of January that we had in investments was $99,754,255.71. And it's pretty well diversified. We had a little bit more in Texas class at the end of the month than the other two funds. But as I mentioned, everyone's trending well and everyone has been good stewards of the budgets that y'all have given them.
Thank you, Tom. Bye.
Balance as of December 2023, $86,555,415.04. Receipts for the month of January 2024, $70,401,673.61. Disbursements for the same time period, $54,639,652.32. For the ending balance as of January 31st, 2024, I feel like I need a drum roll on this one, $102,317,436.33. We broke that 100 million mark.
Crazy. Item number 24, discuss/take action on the treasurer's report.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed?
Thank
No?
you.
Thank you, bye. Item number 25, discussion/acknowledgement of personnel changes, reporting by all departments on any changes in respective departments. Got those here. We don't have any new hires. We did have a resignation/termination in elections as well as the sheriff's department. We are currently hiring elections, a chief deputy clerk/voter registrar, sheriff patrol deputies. How many deputies we hiring? We'll need 8 deputies. Courthouse security, talked to a couple of folks about that, and I can present something to the security committee. And Road and Bridge Maintenance Tech 3 is available. Oh, that one was hired yesterday? Good. That one's off the board. Okay. Item number 26, payment of bills.
Okay, Court, I sent the bill list out on Friday. There was one slight change. There was a 76-cent credit that was on the bill list that went out. So actually the total amount should be $906,112.55. General fund portion was $139, road and bridge is $643, and then just the rest was regular normal bills for the cycle. So total is $906,112.55.
We had a pretty significant heavy equipment repair, $22,538.49. Commissioner, do you know about that, Road and Bridge?
What page is that, Judge? What page are you?
That's on page 22 of 33.
Okay.
Y'all aware what that was?
$22,538.49, Mr. Geisler, Wayne?
Gotta be a truck.
They're asking on a repair on VIN number 5582 for 22,000, judge is asking, I'm sorry, for 22,538.49. Do you recall what that was for? Judge, we can pull the invoice and send it to you all.
Judge, it seems like you're running out of court-appointed attorneys, huh?
Running out of court-appointed
Yeah,
attorneys?
not enough stepping up.
I only have,
Who?
Mr. Cedillos and, Xavier Ibarra, they both come, but their supplement for, now that the PDO is up and running, they carry most of the caseload. Anytime that we have, which has been more often here lately, if we have conflicting, you have an arrest that has 4 or 5 people arrested in the public defender's office can't represent all 4 or 5 of those people. You have to get a different attorney for each one of those, and it adds up. Andy Cedillos had, I think in this bill cycle, like
Yeah, right.
$10,000 worth of vouchers that had been
Right.
saved up. Since we went to the new tech share, we no longer do paper vouchers. It's all online through this tech share program that puts all of us together in the 218th, 81st district. So
You
that's
know,
why.
the old cases will still have the old paper vouchers until they all get closed out.
Yeah. So Andy was holding on to a bunch of those. Shall be an emergency management, we had $1,829.
Gas monitors.
Gas monitor?
H2S monitors,
Okay,
yes.
I figured that's what that was.
And that was budgeted as well.
Mm-hmm. If you look in IT, in Jimmy's department, there's a $9,180 for security awareness training subscription for IT. That's gonna be a pretty significant deal. It's gonna be a good thing. It's gonna keep county pretty safe for cybersecurity. Yeah, I'm glad Jimmy caught that. That's a big get. I think those were all the questions I had.
Make the motion to approve payment of the bill as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor of paying the bills? Right hand, anybody opposed to it? No? All right, motion carries. Item number 27 is acknowledge that our Commissioners Court will meet on February 27th, 2024, 9 o'clock in the morning over in the multi-purpose room. There is a district court jury trial all that week, so our Commissioners Court will meet in the annex, that multi-purpose room located at 210 West Calvert Street, West Calvert Avenue, Suite 150, Karnes City, Texas 78118. Item number 28, need a motion to adjourn.
I'll move we adjourn.